Hey guys. Any of you who have been watching my show for long enough should know that I am not a fan of the live-action Transformers movies. And the only reason I haven't reviewed any of them yet is because if I tried to, there's no way in hell I'd be able to make a video that's less than a week long. But you know what? This is my 50th review. Got a new location change here. I feel the need to shake things up a little bit. So today, I'm going to share with you some things that I actually like about Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. You heard me, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, considered by most to be the absolute worst film in the series to date. Frankly, I consider Dark of the Moon to be the worst movie in the series, but maybe we'll get into that someday down the road. I like to think of myself as a fair reviewer, and despite my utter hatred for these movies, there definitely are some small, minute things that can be enjoyed. Not enough to actually save these movies, mind you, but I do think that they're worth celebrating. So without further ado, let's talk about the top 10 things that I actually like about Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Number 10. The running time. A common complaint by fans and haters alike is that the second movie is much longer than the first. But how much longer is it? 6 minutes. Yeah, the second movie is only 6 minutes longer than the first, but everyone feels like it's too freaking long. I'm always fascinated by how people react to a movie, but to have one movie be only a few minutes longer than the other and feel like it's just dragging on and on and on and on, that I just find too interesting. And it's also a prime example of what happens when Michael Bay has complete control over a movie, as opposed to when the far more talented executive producer has more of a hand in what's going on. Keep your dog on a leash, Mr. Spielberg. Number 9. Mikaela's airbrushing. If there's one thing I hate about these movies, it's their inability to properly define their characters. For example, they want us to think that Sam Witwicky is the dorky everyman like Peter Parker is, but what kind of dorky everyman instantly gets the hot chick after getting into a pissing contest with the hot chick's boyfriend? They want us to think that Optimus Prime values all life in all of its many forms, but then he goes around slicing off faces and tearing off heads like a slasher movie villain. And Mikaela is no stranger to mischaracterization either. They want us to feel sorry for her because she apparently has some troubled home life, but the way she maintains a large social circle and apparently has the kind of money that can afford her the most fashionable clothes, she looks like she's doing fine at home. They want us to have more insight into who she is as a character by her being unhappy with Sam's perception of her being shallow, which she never even brought up, so why would she think that? But it's hard for us to think that she's not shallow when she hangs out with equally hot and equally shallow-looking girls, or when she dates your stereotypical douchebag who has nothing to offer but biceps and a big truck, or when she's sharing a class with our main character since the first grade, and she still doesn't know his name. Sorry, Mikaela, but you are shallow. Anyway, back to her airbrushing. Here we see her detailing a motorcycle in her dad's auto shop, and shockingly, she doesn't say later in the movie that she doesn't know how to paint, or anything else that might contradict this previously established character trait. Mikaela Banes is an artist. Who knew? Number 8. Professor Colin. Sam goes to college and takes an astronomy class, when one might think it would be easier, cheaper, and a hell of a lot more interesting to learn astronomy from the giant robots from outer space. And we meet his professor, a badly dressed, creepy-looking nerd who's so out of date with the times that he still uses a chalkboard and a pocket watch. But look and marvel at how he's shot in this scene.
Space. Time. Gravity. Finish that for me.
We know nothing about him, but it only takes seconds to advertise him as a Tower of Machismo, the absolute master of his domain. And apparently he's cultivated such a reputation for himself that all campus hotties have to be in this class just so they can be closer to him. As pointless as it is, I like this scene because it demonstrates beautifully just how great a talent that Michael Bay has for advertising things. No, you're not hallucinating. You actually heard me say the words, Michael Bay has talent. Let's take a look back at this old Got Milk commercial that he did some years ago.
And now let's make that random call with today's $10,000 question. It's a tough one. Who shot Alexander Hamilton in that famous duel? All right, let's go to the phones and see who's out there.
Hello?
Hello, for $10,000, who shot... Excuse me?
No!
I'm afraid your time is almost up. I'm sorry, maybe next time.
Got milk?
Without using any dialogue whatsoever, we instantly know the most important aspects of our main character here. And as such, we're just as crushed as he is when he loses his chance to shine. Not to mention, he's not annoying, stupid, or anything else that might make us hate him. We feel bad for him, and we want to feel bad for him. Something you can't say about Revenge of the Fallen, wherein most characters you just want to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Hey, Mudflat, what are we gonna do with this shrimp taco?
We just bump a cap in his ass, throw him in the truck, and then nobody gonna know nothing, not me.
Yeah.
Really, it makes me wonder what might have happened if Michael Bay actually took the time to care about these Transformers as likable characters. I mean, we know that he can do it, so why not do it? Number 7. The Allspark Riddle. For some completely stupid and unexplained reason, the Allspark is the only record of Cybertron's 4 million year history. But when Sam touches the shard of the Allspark and downloads its information into his brain somehow, there's one piece of information that sticks out in his head more prominently than any other. The secret location of the Matrix of Leadership here on Earth. And instead of that location being a simple set of coordinates, it's actually written down in the form of a riddle.
Your symbols, what you carved in the sand, it's your clue. When dawn alights the dagger's tip, 3 kings will reveal the doorway. Find the doorway! Go now, go!
Since the dagger's tip is a nickname for the Jordanian city of Aqaba in this movie, they think that the Matrix must be there. So at sunrise in Aqaba, 3 kings will reveal the doorway. We're left to assume that the doorway refers to the doorway of the Tomb of the Primes, where the Matrix is being held. So what could be the 3 kings? Sam and his friends deduce that the 3 kings are actually referring to the 3 stars that make up Orion's belt, and when observed from Aqaba at sunrise, the stars form an arrow that points to the location of the tomb that they're looking for, which incidentally just happens to be in Petra. However, since the Matrix was hidden in 17,000 BC, and Aqaba wasn't settled until 4000 BC, that means that there's no way that whoever wrote the riddle could have hinted at the location of the tomb using a name that was given to it by humans. Also, while there are some ancient civilizations that refer to Orion's belt as the 3 kings, the Sumerian civilization that founded Aqaba in the first place isn't one of them. Nor is ancient Egypt, so why would the final battle of the Primes take place so far away from the site of the Fallen's Energon harvesting machine in ancient Giza? Also, the point at which a constellation intersects with a horizon changes at different times of the year. So the arrow that is Orion's belt would be pointing to many different locations at many different times. Oh, and by the way, if we're supposed to give Sarah Palin all kinds of crap for saying that she can see Russia from her home in Alaska, then we must also give Sam, Michael Bay, and the screenwriters crap for thinking that you can see Petra from Aqaba. Or Giza, or wherever the hell we're supposed to be. So, why do I like this riddle which doesn't make a lick of sense? Well, mostly because I just find it hilarious that these professional Hollywood screenwriters apparently don't know how Google works. And if you think that I'm just nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking here, that I'm just tearing away at these tiny, meaningless details, try convincing someone that Christopher Columbus invented the wheel. Believe me, research is your friend. Number 6. Botched coordinates. When Sam and company figure that they need to look for the Matrix of Leadership in Aqaba, Agent Simmons relays Aqaba's coordinates to the US military so they can fly the Autobots there. And thanks to the magic of MapQuest.com, anyone can go online and see for themselves that the global coordinates for Aqaba actually are 29.5 degrees north by 35 degrees east. These coordinates are referenced 2 more times in the movie, But because, again, these professional Hollywood screenwriters apparently don't know how to copy and paste, they changed to 29.5 by 34.88.
Coordinates for airdrop: 29.5 north, 34.88 east.
Then they change again to 29.5 by 35.88. Michael Bay likes to give all kinds of praise to the US military, but it doesn't exactly look good when he makes the military so dumb that they accidentally send their troops to some empty patch of Jordanian desert and to the coast of a completely different country. Hey, O'Connell! Looks to me like I've got all the Transformers! Hey, Benny! Looks like you're on the wrong side of the Red Sea! So yeah, now I know how to look for the coordinates of any point on Earth should I need them. All because this movie was incredibly stupid. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. It's educational.
Mind blown.
Number 5. Female Autobots. Fan favorite RC was supposed to be in the first Transformers movie, and Hasbro even went and released her own toy. But Bay cut her from the movie because he was unsure of how audiences would react to the idea of a female robot. I have no idea why he felt that way, since the movie establishes them as a species of naturally occurring robots, so why wouldn't they be sexual in some form or another? Oh yeah, and let's not forget the giant robot testicles and wheelie-humping Megan Fox's leg. Yeah, these clearly sexual beings don't have females in their species. That makes sense, right? I don't know what changed his mind when the second movie came along, but RC and a couple of other girls made their way onto the set, and of all the things that there are to complain about, no one bats an eye at the concept of female Autobots, nor should they. And what's even more shocking is that all of these ladies transform into motorcycles, and not once do we get a stupid joke about what hot rides they are. Seriously, it's just so refreshing to see women in a Michael Bay movie that aren't objectified into nothing but sex objects. Granted, it might be nice if they were actual characters as well, but I guess we can't have everything, can we? Robot testicles! Number 4. The design of Mudflap. Don't misunderstand me. The look of the robots in these movies, and the twins in particular, are just awful. Sure, they're photorealistic and appear like they're actually in frame more than many other CGI characters in a live-action setting, but they don't resemble the robots from any of the various Transformer incarnations. Feel free to explain to me why looking like this wouldn't work. They don't follow the rules of robotics or biology, and apparently their intricate detailing is so expensive to render that they couldn't afford to give them any more screen time than what they eventually ended up with. Mr. Bay, it's okay if we don't see every tiny little gear and servo that goes into the creation of every Transformer. You want us to think that you wanted more screen time for the robots than we eventually got? I want to believe you. But if that's what you wanted, you can dumb down the CGI just a little bit. We want to see more robots too. If you had to sacrifice the quality of the CGI to make that happen, I'm pretty sure the audience would be okay with it. However, there definitely is something to appreciate in the design of Mudflap. He's red, and he's short and squat. When fans first objected to Optimus Prime's flame paint job over his more traditional and iconic color scheme of red and blue, Bay stated that it was because red is the most difficult color to photograph, which is why Prime is mostly blue with only a few hints of red. Similarly, fans questioned his decision to make Bumblebee a Camaro instead of a Volkswagen Beetle, to which he replied that he simply couldn't imagine something that small driving 200 miles per hour. And no, I don't care about Volkswagen's official reasons for not wanting the bug to be in the movie. Maybe those reasons might mean something if Bay didn't say from the very beginning that he thought that the bug was stupid too. And despite these limitations on Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, what do we see in Mudflap's design? He's red, and he's a Chevrolet Trax. He's the color that Bay said was really hard to photograph, and he's more or less the same size as a car that Bay couldn't see driving especially fast. Again, there are a ton of things to hate about this movie, but I haven't heard one complaint about how they didn't like the small cars that Skids and Mudflap transform into, or that Mudflap's color scheme was difficult to see. So why do I like this? Well, because 1. Bay might actually be learning something in the course of making these movies. 2, Bay can't keep track of his own nonsense. Or 3, this is definitive proof that Michael Bay thinks his audience are a bunch of idiots who will happily swallow any lies that he throws at them. And millions of people around the world still insist that we throw our money at him. Number 3, Megatron's Resurrection. While the logistics of how Megatron was repaired by having random parts thrown clumsily at him are kind of head-scratching, there's no denying that the way it all went down was just perfect. Ravage and the Constructicons escort the Doctor to the bottom of the Laurentian Abyss, where Megatron has been lying in silence for the last 2 years. Apparently it isn't enough that they have one of the 2 shards of the Allspark to revive their leader, but they also need extra parts to repair him. So what do? The little one, who is unnamed sadly, is immediately taken down and cannibalized for parts by his compatriots without a second thought. That just by itself is horrifyingly and tragically awesome, and it says worlds about how the cons function and operate. To a Decepticon, life is expendable if it means accomplishing your goal. Wait, Megatron needs extra parts to be repaired, but the Allspark completely rebuilds Frenzy's body from scratch after he gets decapitated? God damn it, even the things that I like lead me to things that piss me off. Number 2, the animation. Say what you will about the story being full of holes or the characters being one-dimensional, unlikable, or contradictory, but the animators at Industrial Light and Magic really had their work cut out for them. There are those who have criticized this movie as being more akin to an endurance test than an actual movie, and that was only in reference to those in the audience who only have to watch the movie for 2.5 hours. Imagine the many months that the animators had to endure while actually making the movie. The Wrecking Ball testicles on Devastator, having to dream up and realize a tedious new transformation sequence every time a robot transforms, contending with Michael Bay's ego, a task which apparently Megan Fox wasn't able to do. Animating any scene with the twins and bearing the terrible dialogue accompanying them, detailing the Transformers to be covered in dings and scratches in robot mode and then magically taking them away whenever they transform to vehicle mode, only animating a handful of scenes that actually sell the Transformers as characters instead of props. They really pulled through when other animators might just walk off the production completely. Seriously, where were these animators at the Oscars? Give them some kind of recognition for going above and beyond the Call of Duty. And the number one thing that I liked from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen is Alice. First of all, give the movie some props for having the guts to introduce pretenders in an age when audiences have been exposed to otherworldly creatures taking human form in several other movies. Terminator, Species, etc. It's ironic that this movie got complaints for ripping off other movies, when in fact it was only being true to another facet of Transformers source material. There are a lot of reasons for the most devoted Transformers fans to ask why the movies aren't more inspired from the original cartoon, but Revenge of the Fallen's inclusion of pretenders actually makes for a decent contribution to the idea that these movies aren't meant to be direct copies of the cartoon, but more of an amalgamation of various themes and ideas that the franchise has gathered over the years. Secondly, the lack of concrete characterization and backstory of Alice offers a lot of leeway for the viewer to imagine just who she really is. After Sam touches the Allspark shard and downloads its information, he leaves for college, and the Decepticons somehow get word of this and apparently send Alice to get that information. But Alice is already at Sam's college when he arrives. Considering the fact that Sam leaves for college on the same day that he touches the Allspark shard, Alice can't be there for the sake of hunting Sam down if she's already there. Infiltrating a university and joining a sorority inconspicuously in the guise of just some other student would be a long and tortuous process, and she couldn't logically have done either with the intention of fighting Sam, since she wouldn't have even known about Sam, or the information that he supposedly has. So then, why is she here at Sam's college if she couldn't possibly be there to track him down? Frankly, it looks like she's there just for the sake of higher learning. First, remember how quickly Jetfire and Wheelie quit the Decepticon ranks for absolutely no reason?
Tell me, is that robot civil war still going on? Who's winning?
The Decepticons!
Well, I change sides to the
What do you
Autobots.
mean change sides?
It's a choice. It's an intensely personal decision.
You mean you don't have to work for those miserable friggin' Decepticons?
If Decepticons had their way, they'd destroy the whole universe.
I'm changing sides too, Warrior Goddess.
Yeah, they just dropped out for no other reason than because they could. Given that, it's easy to speculate that other cons would try to defect as well. It's entirely possible that Alice just took the form of a young woman and joined the university for the sake of getting away from the war and enjoying the human experience. And she only began her hunt for Sam after the Decepticons learned that Sam has something that they want, and he coincidentally is in the same school as she. There's also the scene in the astronomy class that she shares with Sam, and Sam starts to wig out as a result of absorbing that Cybertronian knowledge. We only see her once in this entire scene, and in it she seems to be giving her full and undivided attention to their professor. Other students get reaction shots to show off how confused they are by Sam speaking in gibberish, and you'd really think that Alice would get a similar reaction shot, especially upon seeing this alien boy somehow writing in her native tongue. But that never happens. As far as we can see, she was here solely for the purpose of learning, and that's where she's intent on keeping her focus. It's also interesting seeing her clumsily try out these feminine wiles she must have heard about during her brief time spent as a woman. She could have easily just killed Sam right away as soon as she was alone with him in his dorm room, but instead, she wants to try out her human sexuality for a bit before resuming her business.
And I know you know what happens when two people in a room get together. They're genuinely amazing in bed.
Yeah, two people are genuinely amazing in bed just because they're alone. She clearly has no idea what she's talking about, but bless her naive robotic heart, she just wants to find out. Two people are amazing in bed just because they're alone together? You might as well call someone a great speaker just because they know how to make sounds come out of their mouth. Hey, there's someone who knows how to type on a keyboard. Give him a Pulitzer Prize! So yeah, a movie that doesn't care one bit about character development or storytelling somehow managed to give us a likable character with a rather unique and interesting backstory. If irony was made of strawberries, we'd all be drinking a lot of smoothies right now. And now for the moment that you've all been waiting for. To mark this, my 50th review, it's time to announce the winners of my 50th review giveaway. I have the names of all who joined this little contest in my hat here. And now I will draw 3 names at random to see who won. Our first winner is Fedora. And winner number 2 is Spencer Walsh. And the third and final winner of our contest is Vornado. These 3 lucky contestants will be winning an autographed copy of my book, Cadaver Hills No. 1, a DVD copy of Food Fight. Let's Watch a Food Fight, that is. I'm not redistributing movies for free here or anything. And one more Let's Watch never before released. So, congratulations on winning this little contest, guys. Keep on watching. And here's to 50 more reviews. Robot-tastic